Hello, aviation adventurers, and welcome to a new game on the channel, the Brew Barons. So in this game, we are going to a fictional land where pirates have taken over the brewing of beer in the area, and everybody's unhappy about this. So the Brew Barons come around to try and stop these pirates and to establish a more friendly brewing operation of their own. Now, this game I had seen on Steam advertised, and it just came out today. It looked like it would be a lot of fun, so I wanted to give it a shot. I have toyed around with it a little bit because I needed to make the controls a bit more to my liking. So I hope that I now have the controls to where I want them. And with that, we'll go ahead and jump into a game. There is quite a bit of dialogue in-game, so I am going to let the dialogue take over for the most part, but I will give my own opinion and thoughts at different points in time during the game as well. One thing that is a little bit annoying is I am going to be using a controller for the majority of things in the game, but this mouse icon keeps popping up on the screen even though I'm using a controller. So I will try to move it off the screen to just take away the distraction when I can, but if it does pop up at points, I do apologize in advance. With that being said though, let's go ahead and try to enjoy the game, and let's jump into the Brew Barons.
Welcome to the sun-bathed islands of the Adley Bay. At the middle of these warm waters sits the capital, Veli, the largest among all other cities in the bay and a true sight to behold. Rich in natural resources, bountiful fishing and favorable soil, the Adley Bay has boomed into a bustling paradise with boats coming and going with product in tow. Seaplanes and flying boats, an aeronautical invention only a few decades old and growing in popularity. Those brave enough to pilot a plane tend to do so for an occupational or economical advantage, while others, for crooked reasons. Brew pirates, backwater bootleggers. They taint these lands in choking smog, plunder ingredients, and steal from the peaceful locals to forcefully sustain their brewing monopoly. The pirates operate in secrecy from the surrounding landmass of the Marieth and Delholdin nations. Their presence expands, forcing their brews as they rove freely and unchallenged. That was until two unlikely heroes stepped forward. Nigel, a flunky from the Marieth Flight Academy. Undeterred, Nigel refuses to give up on his dream of becoming a career pilot. With very little flight hours on his record, he's eager to find anyone that will fly with him. And Francie, the daughter of a successful merchant in the Marieth capital. When she learned of her father's shop being ransacked by the pirates for goods used in their brewing production, she vowed to help protect the bay and return what was stolen. In this time of turmoil, our unlikely heroes unite under one banner and one name. Henceforth, the Brew Barons came to be.
So for me, the style of the game really was intriguing. I liked the visuals, I liked the sort of cartoon style with really a lot of artistic design.
All right, we're here. The city of Veli. The last remaining location in the bay that still shines bright with opportunity.
Huh. Not a bad place to start a brewing enterprise. I hope the locals won't mind us setting up shop here.
Some may be wary, but I'm sure we can sway minds and gather support if we can produce quality brews people actually like.
All right then. Let's do this. I just wish we had enough money left over from the renovations to buy a better seaplane. The salesman may have swindled us with this junker.
How about that? She floats! Sir, as I knew it would. Now before you head off, just a reminder to keep your speed low when entering or exiting any harbors. Harbors often have plenty of boats and obstacles that can cause some real harm to you and your plane if you're not careful, so just keep your throttle low and you'll do fine.
I'm more concerned about the illuminated rust holes shining up through the floor.
Rust? Just think of it as weight reduction. Anyhow, remember what I said. Oh, And try not to fly too high. That engine has carburetor issues. Bye-bye now.
Oh boy. Well, let's see what this thing can do. I'll give you a quick refresher on the plane controls and instruments.
Great, let's start.
This is our fuel gauge. We have a full tank at the moment and shouldn't need to refuel for a while. Oh, and one role of the co-pilot is to give regular notifications on fuel levels. This meter represents the plane's cargo capacity. Currently, we aren't carrying anything. Take note that a heavily loaded plane will become a bit more sluggish in handling and speed. Highlighted here is our compass, attitude indicator, speed display, and altitude display. This is the engine throttle. Hold the throttle input to gradually raise or lower the plane speed. The throttle amount will remain fixed at that location when released. Just remember to lower your throttle when you want to slow down or stop.
I will say I do like the fact that since I changed the controls for the controller, it did actually update the throttle input numbers or buttons and such. So if you're just starting this with an Xbox controller, yours will not look the same as this. I went ahead and put these because they're what feel natural to me. You put what you feel like.
The red portion of the throttle bar represents sustained engine damage. Damage will limit engine performance. Below that is the plane health bar. From the looks of it, our plane currently sits around quarter health with reduced engine performance. Next to the throttle bar is the propeller pitch toggle. Simply put, you can invert your propeller angle and make the plane traverse either forwards or reverse. You would only want to use this if the plane gets snagged or stuck. And finally, steering the plane. On water, our direction is controlled by using the rudder. Taking off is controlled by the elevators, which are kind of broken right now, but I should note it can be helpful to pitch down while trolling on water for a little extra stability.
It's coming back to me now. I recall the ignition button has to be held for several seconds in order to fire the engine up.
That's right. Hold the ignition button to start up the plane. Apply some throttle and follow the ring markers. They will lead us to the brewery.
Alright, so those are some of the basic controls. As you can see here with the plane, we're missing an important part, that being wings. But we're going to go ahead and cruise along the water here. So let's go ahead and get it up to fair speed. I may play around with the sensitivity a little bit because it's a little bit touchy right now.
Did the pirates get them?
I don't think that plane's gonna make it wherever they're heading.
Whoa! Check out that plane. I suppose they're moving it off to the wrecker.
What's going on? What's all that engine racket?
It is a bit embarrassing driving this thing along for right now, but it is what it is. I probably will want to slow down a bit here.
We've arrived at the brewery. Welcome to our new base of operations.
That's a nice sized building. A little bit on the rundown side, but it does look nice overall. I like it.
We own all 3 floors? Huh, not bad.
I agree with him. Definitely not bad.
Yep, it may look a little rundown right now, but it's just a matter of time before we turn this place into a grand establishment that strikes down the pirates' monopoly for good. The second floor contains the actual brewery, while the third floor sits mostly empty, waiting to be converted into a bar. And last, there's our plane hangar that resides at the bottom. See this golden square? This indicates a dockable location. This particular one will take us directly into our hangar. Always reduce your speed when maneuvering into a dockable location. Otherwise, you run the risk of overshooting and possibly crash.
Got it. Now that we're here, let's get this plane inside and fix it up.
As I said, the cursor
Welcome to
keeps
the
coming
hangar.
up here.
Let's jump right into the basics. From here, you can craft new planes, load or modify an existing one, and purchase new blueprints from the parts catalog. A plane will always need a pilot and co-pilot, which you can assign in the roster tab. You can also assign idle pilots to a few other jobs, such as brewery assistant or bar manager. Before we go any further, let's get this plane fixed up. In order to modify the plane, we must first fix up the structural damage.
So in this particular case, I think I'll probably use the mouse in these areas and such, because I think the little bit I tried of it, I found it easier than trying to use the controller for these parts.
You can do so by opening the repair tab located on the plane information panel. Once opened, move the slider all the way to the right to repair all damage and accept the purchase.
Alright, so we'll go repair. As you can see over here, we have 20 coins, 0 of the silvers. We need 85 silvers and 2 of the golds. So I think it'll actually put us down to like 17 and maybe 15?
Now that the structural damage is repaired, we can construct some new wings. Start by opening the Modify tab.
As I said, just easier using the mouse in this area. Alright, so there is this geared thing here also, which we have 12 of right now, so that's something we want to keep in mind as well. We're going to get the basic wings here, cadet wings.
I noticed the wing construction required not only money, but also crafting materials. I'm sure we'll find more materials while venturing, so we should collect and bring them back. Anyways, I guess we're now ready to fly?
Yep. In fact, I have a small delivery errand destined to a local bar on the other side of town. We can fly over there in no time. We're going to exchange a few bottles of old cider I have for a valuable piece of plane equipment. Let's start by moving all the bottles of cider from the brewery inventory into the plane inventory.
Okay.
The cider is now loaded in the plane's cargo space. It looks like we're all set.
So that was easy enough with the controller. I really do feel like if this game is ever going to move to the consoles and stuff, they are going to have to get the controls a little bit better for controller, because as I said, I had to spend a little bit of time to get it to where the controller felt
Let's
decent.
head out. You can undock from the exit menu shown here.
And there's just some things with some of these drop-down menus that are a little bit challenging when using the controller. So possibly a few updates to the game will help with that.
Oil, flaps, rudder. All meters look good. Ready for the maiden flight?
You betcha. You can see we now have a delivery contract located in the upper right.
Alright, so we've got 1 accepted. We're going to drop off 8 ciders.
The bar is located within eye range, just on the opposing side of the city.
Also, I really hope in an update they remove where that cursor comes back every time as it is.
Take note of the gold docking square and small pier. Pilots should always plan their dock entry route and exit route ahead of time.
That's a good point, because we're going to have to come in from the side, not just straight on with the pier, I would assume.
You'll want to avoid approaching the pier head-on. You will almost certainly crash if you're traveling too quickly.
That's what I said.
Instead, approach a pier from a perpendicular angle. This presents the safest way to dock at a pier, and also makes for an easy exit.
Makes sense.
To help you approach at the correct angle, I've placed a series of rings. When you're ready, just follow them, and they will safely guide us to the delivery point. Use a little throttle and rudder to steer to the direction you want to take off, then speed up. Once you reach around 50 knots, pull back lightly on the pitch control to take off.
All right.
Once you're in the air, you can use the rudder to make small turns, or the ailerons to bank and make larger turns. Take note of the ring color as you approach them. Their color will suggest the ideal throttle percent for the smoothest commute. Yellow is 100% throttle. Red is 30% throttle. and 0% just before the goal. I'll
Okay.
remind you of appropriate throttle power mid-flight. Let's start up the plane, throttle up, and get to it.
Oh, that seems pretty straightforward. So let's power up the plane. Let's give it a little bit of throttle. Get ourselves turned. All right, and we're off. Definitely still getting used to the controls. Whoa! All right. Let's try to hit the rings that we had missed. Still have to work on the controls a little bit. But making it work, we did not crash into the water, which I thought was an actual concern there for a moment.
Set 30% throttle now. Reduce your speed. Slowly enter the final ring.
Alright, so it wasn't the prettiest flight of all time, but we made it work decently, I think. Not overly upset with that. As I said, probably in the next episode, I will adjust the controls again a little bit, just to make it work better.
That didn't take long at all. See this animated symbol? This means we're in a dockable location. When the dock input is pressed, it will bring up the docking menu. You can press the dock button now. The docking menu comes with several options such as resting or managing your delivery contracts. For now, let's take the first option and enter the establishment to conduct the delivery.
Alright.
The floor is sticky. A bit of a dive, ain't it? What self-respecting person would drink in such a place? I'm sure the bar we build will be way better.
Shh. Keep your voice down. The bar owner is coming this way.
Hey, a couple of new faces. Take a seat wherever you wish.
Hi. We're not here to drink. I overheard that your establishment was low on stock and you're willing to exchange for some old plane equipment for more.
Ah,
I see you caught my ad in the paper. Is that cider? Great. You have a deal. But be careful with that plane equipment. Hydro aviation can be pretty dangerous in the hands of a novice.
Wait, what? We're toying with hydropropulsion? You've got to be kidding me. I don't know if I can endure such force.
Oh, it's not just hydropropulsion, hydroprojectiles too. But relax. I'm sure we'll be fine in your capable hands. Besides, we'll need an advantage if we're going to stand up to those pirates.
I can see you two have some grand plans on the horizon. That and your unsightly plane parked outside. Come, I'll help you rig up the equipment.
I love that, the unsightly plane outside. Hey, we fixed it up. It actually looks decent now.
One more adjustment here. And done. You're now set up to boost through the sky with a torrent of high-pressure water blasting behind you. You're also able to shoot water projectiles in front of you. Oh, geez. I lost track of time and got to get back to my bar. One last thing. If you're going to craft more brews, I might be willing to buy some more from you. But first, I'll see how my patrons like that cider. Take care.
Well, that's fortunate. We have our first brew client. Hopefully next time we can deliver him something better than that basic cider.
Sounds good. There's ingredients scattered throughout the bay that we could collect and craft into all sorts of unique brews. Though first things first, we should cover the basics of plane abilities. Above the compass is the plane's ability bar. It displays the currently equipped ability and water meter. Plane abilities consume water from this meter when activated.
Let's start by testing out the water boosting ability. It's great for hopping island to island at rapid speeds or gaining high altitude quickly.
To use the ability, we must first refill the water tank. This will happen automatically when we are close to the water and traveling at around 40 knots or more. Once we have enough water, we can use the ability by pressing the primary ability input. Let's start by following the rings and getting into position. Once we're in position, I will give you the signal to hold down the boost ability and keep it held down.
Alright, let's see if we can do this. She wants us wide open here, so we're wide open.
Okay, boost now. Hold down the boost ability and don't let go. Nigel, are you okay? You look a bit queasy.
Whoa, that was intense. I'm just a bit dizzy. I think flying at those speeds takes some getting used to.
Check it out. We have a view of the whole island from up here. There's small clusters of apple trees all around. We can try collecting those for our brews. Shoot the apple trees with your water projectiles to knock their fruit off and swoop in to collect them. If a tree runs out of apples, move on to another. A depleted tree will grow back after several days elapse. You can switch to the water gun by cycling the primary ability. Head back down to a lower altitude when you're ready and test out the water projectiles.
Sounds like a plan. Let's not forget to refill the water tank when necessary and stay within range of the island. Now let's collect 100 apples.
Alright, we can do that.
Sounds like our engine is struggling up here. That salesman definitely sold us a lemon. Let's fly down to a lower altitude before it dies completely.
I'm plunging it as quickly as I can. Well, I could plunge it faster, I guess. controls are still a little bit odd to get used to, but getting there. Yeah, getting used to the banking and the turning is really what I'm having the most trouble with. Oh, need some more water. All right.
There we go. That's 100 apples loaded in the plane.
Next,
All
we can
right.
head back to the brewery to process the apples. I'll place a marker to remind us where the hangar is located.
Alright, so we'll head to the brewery. Might as well fill up our water tank while we're at it. Starting to get the hang of this overall. As I said, I just want to make a tweak to the turning, just to make it a bit more straightforward for me.
Back home in one piece and a cargo hull full of apples. Let's head up to the second floor brewery. You can access it from the exit menu.
Alright, so let's go to the brewery.
You managed to fit a fully functional brewery on a single floor?
Impressive, right? We can take those apples we just collected and turn them into brews in no time at all. The first thing we need to do is move the apples from the plane inventory into the brewery. You can open the inventory tab to make the transfer.
Alright, so we'll transfer those all to the brewery.
Great. Now that the apples are available to be processed, I can quickly explain the brewery menus. Highlighted at the top are the brewery options. In addition to crafting new brews, you can also look up recipes, manage your back catalog, upgrade the brewery, and manage any delivery contracts. Let's start by opening the Create menu. The large metal pot is where we will blend all our ingredients. Highlighted is the brewery pot interface. It's used to measure percentage ratios of ingredients dispensed into the blending pot. It's important to know that only the top 3 ingredients in the pot of a sufficient quantity will count towards your brew outcome. So don't go throwing in a whole slew of different ingredients in. It won't do you much good.
This game is actually really elaborate with the amount of things that you have going on with it.
Beneath the ingredient percentages shows the value of your dispensed ingredients. And below that is the alcohol by volume percentage. As you dispense items into your pot, the maximum alcohol potential will increase. Maximum alcohol potential is something you'll want to take note of if you're crafting a brew for a client that has specified how much alcohol the drink should contain.
Okay, that makes sense.
Here's the reset button. If you dispense the wrong ingredient or your pot contents don't reach a desired alcohol potential. Now the fun part. This is the ingredient wheel. It allows you to cycle through all of the ingredients that have been placed in the brewery inventory. Let's hold the dispense button to drop all 100 apples into the pot.
I like that I can control it as much as I want to.
The ingredients will blend once a total of 100 units are dispensed. Next, we'll add yeast to the mixture, which will convert into alcohol. The more yeast you add will result in a higher alcohol content, but will never exceed its maximum alcohol potential. You can add yeast by holding down and releasing the scoop button. The longer the hold, the more yeast will be added. The process of adding yeast will stop if you hit the end button, or if the alcohol content of your pot reaches its max potential.
Alright. Sort of interesting. So we're really making a very hearty brew here. There we go.
Next, we'll process the mixture. We can ferment, which will produce a higher yield of drinks with a low value and alcohol percentage. Or we can ferment and distill, which will produce lower yield with a higher value product and alcohol percentage.
Alright, I want to go with this one. Isn't letting me.
Take note that each method will produce a different type of brew. In this case, our apple mixture can either become a cider or a brandy depending on which method is taken. Let's choose fermenting and let the brew-o-matic work its magic.
Okay, so we have to do the ferment.
Presto! Our mixture has now been turned into a cider. This particular brew turned out a little basic, though no worries. Next time we can try crafting a brew with multiple ingredients to produce a better product. From here we can discard or bottle the brew. Let's select bottle to continue. We can start to customize our product to our liking. We can change the bottle appearance and rename the product to anything we'd like. When you're happy with the design, you can press the finish button.
I like the amount of detail to this. Huh. I sort of like that. I like that. I really like the capabilities here for this. That works out nice. Oh, I can change the style of bottle too. Alright, this is just a basic cider. So I don't want something too flashy. I think something like that'll work nice. Yeah, I think that works. I like it.
Our new cider brew will now appear under the My Products menu. This menu is used to produce more units of any branded brews you've already crafted. Should a client request a branded brew that's out of stock, you can open this menu to produce more if you have sufficient ingredients.
Okay,
There's
makes
one
sense.
last step. Seeing as we have no client contracts requesting cider, we can stock the cider at our own bar, which we need to set up first. Let's head up to the top floor by accessing the exit menu.
Alright. So we want to go to the bar.
There used to be a bunch of old antiques collecting dust up here. It may not look like much and the floors creak terribly, but with enough effort we can turn this into a lively bar.
One that's stocked full with our own brewed products? That would be great.
We'll have to start with a basic tarnished floor plan for the time being. With enough funds, the bar can be renewed and polished. In doing so, it will gather our bar more fame. This is the
Makes
fame
sense.
meter. It will rise as we improve our bar and sell quality brews. With more fame comes more sales. It won't be easy, but our goal is to fill this meter and create a renowned top-tier bar that takes sales away from the pirates.
Definitely makes sense.
In that case, we should style the bar accordingly to the types of brew we plan to sell. A bar patron that prefers cider might enjoy a rustic bar theme, whereas a wine drinker might prefer something more elegant.
Sure. With all the chairs and antiques I found up here, it shouldn't take much for us to try out several bar themes. We can find a theme that best suits our brews. Let's start by choosing a theme for our bar. You can do so by opening the design panel.
Alright, so we can have classic, themed to Victorian, themed to the Forge, Art Deco, Noir. I'm torn between classic and Victorian. I think Victorian is a bit more traditional. Yeah, I'm gonna go with classic for now. I do really like the Victorian, though. You know, this has sort of a steampunk feel to it, so I think the Victorian works. I'm gonna stick with Victorian. Well, actually, that's... so Victorian does work for cider. Cider really works for the Forge. I'm going to go with Victorian, though. This is what I want to go with. So I can do wines and brandies are going to be my top two sellers here.
Next, let's think of a good name for the bar. Maybe a name that portrays an establishment of sophistication and class? I'll leave that up to you. The choice is yours. Type the name into the text box and press enter when you're done.
This is a bit challenging here. Let's go with Flight of Fancy.
That's an interesting choice. It's Different. Fortunately, we can always change it later.
Alright.
From this menu, you can adjust the cosmetics of our bar and upgrade the theme. Upgrading will help us gain fame a bit faster. Now with the bar all set up, we'll want to stock our cider so it can be slowly sold over time. You can open the inventory and make the brew transfer. There, we're now open for business. Be sure to keep the bar stocked with brews that suit our chosen theme. In doing so, will help keep our patrons happy. We should also get in the habit of checking in on our bar every now and then. We can review our sales history and gossip with the locals that might provide useful feedback.
Okay.
Right. It looks like we're all set and ready to finally start this. Let's get out there and explore. Make connections, collect ingredients, and grow our brewing enterprise.
Alright, so with that, we have finished the tutorial. And I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and click that like button. If you've not already, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, so that you're aware when I produce new videos in the future. Thank you, and I hope to see you all back for more Brew Barons.